Just getting set up here, guys. If you can give me about 30 more seconds, we will get rolling here. Sorry about the delay. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. So, where are we here? London Open for October 25th. And looking at the calendar coming up, it's been an interesting week so far. Had a little bit of movement, especially with the dollar CAD on Wednesday. Moved quite significantly. Tuesday was a bit of a mediocre day. Monday had a nice little run to it, though. I'm going to talk about that here in a few minutes. But going into Thursday's trading here, we've got some nice euro numbers coming out with the Spanish unemployment rates, German IFO numbers, and main refinancing rate, and an ECB press conference. So later in the day and more after London Open, more into the New York Open time frame, we're probably going to see the price of euro start to bounce around a bit. And we're going to couple that again with the US dollar core durable goods. So we probably will see a pretty good spike in price. And I think if I don't think the run is over quite yet. So I'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Now, just kind of going back. Sorry, and then we've got late in the day FOMC speakers, which I don't know how much weight it's going to lend to the market, but we could still see late in the day movers. So what I mean by that is, you know, typically what's going to happen is they'll probably consolidate the market up until, because there's really, I mean, this is a medium impact news event, and so is this here for the euro. So they may choose to consolidate price, and then when these numbers are released, then that's when they'll start releasing it, and it could be an extended run until after New York lunch here. So just keep that in mind. We don't necessarily, I don't think that just because the normal high is hit right around noon to that 12:30 sort of time frame in New York, you know, where you want to be exiting your trade. But with these two news events down here, it may let it run another hour, or you know, if the move that you're looking for hasn't quite come to fruition, give it a little bit more time is what I'm saying, just because of those. And then going into Friday, we're looking at some advanced GDP numbers on the US dollar, and we have Draghi speaking on Friday at 10 a.m. New York time. So far the week has been pretty interesting. We've got the US dollar here, and when I did my initial observations on Sunday, my expectation was that we were going to see price continue to push higher. As you can see, it's done that. Let me zoom in a little bit here. As you can see, it's done that. It took out these stops here and has continued up. Now, this is Thursday's candle here. Wednesday had a nice big bullish candle. Absolutely took everybody's question out of their mind as to whether this was going to be a continuation higher or just a retest of resistance up in here and then it falling short. So this was Monday's candle opened up, and then Tuesday ended up taking the highs and really didn't do anything on Tuesday. And then this was Wednesday, obviously, and then now we're into Thursday. So I'm expecting a further continuation. We could see a further retracement on the dollar, though, and it may come down to sort of the high of this old candle in here. We'll be watching for that. Which comes in at 95, 90 for all intents and purposes. So I'll just move this down a little bit. 95.90. We could see price want to retrace down to there, if I can get it. So just watch for that. But I am expecting continuation higher. I don't believe this is a Wednesday reversal or anything like that. Because if it was a Wednesday reversal, this candle would look like a bigger wick. It would kind of look something like this, but up here, right? So I don't think we're going to have a down day tomorrow or anything like that. And if we do continue higher into Thursday, I'm sort of looking at 96.50. Let me get a level on this here. About 96.50. You know what? We'll just leave it at 96.50. I like nice round numbers. So I would expect if we do see a continuation to the upside that this level here will get tagged going into Thursday's trading. So now going into Friday, however, we may not get continuation. We might, if they really want to keep pushing and try and get above this high, we could get continuation above it. But Friday, typically after a big movement in the week up like this, they typically tend to take profits on Friday, and you see a retracement in price. And so we'll worry about Friday when it comes. But as for now, I'm expecting a continuation. Now, when I did my, what I was saying earlier, when I did my original Sunday weekly review, my thoughts were we were going to go higher. I came on Tuesday and did a London Open session. I said, I think we're going to retrace a bit before we go higher. I was actually looking for price to come under here. It didn't quite do that. It almost hit it on Monday. It created these two equal lows here on Monday and failed to go any lower. And then Tuesday again just kind of came up and swept these highs. And as I was saying this, as you can see, price came up and swept those highs right as I was doing just after I was doing the London Open session. So my thoughts on it were that we were kind of going to have a mixed day, if not a retracement downward. So I was actually looking for the opposite trade. So obviously this is all leading up to the trades on the euro and the pound, and I'll show you what I did on those things there. Both nice profitable trades. But again, we did not see that higher push and continuation. And then going into today, I was expecting, Wednesday, I was expecting this, and we had a nice big bullish reaction. I didn't get the full move, and I'll show you again what I did on cable here. I didn't get the full move, but I got a piece of it, and it was only because I wasn't in front of the charts for when it started. So that was my own excuse. But that being said, again, I'm looking, price may not go any lower than where it's at right now on today's candle. So I'll go dial down here to a 1 hour. But I would expect them to at least come in and probably sweep underneath this low right here and maybe that low there and clean up some of this area in here before moving higher. I don't want to see this go any lower than here, okay? So for those of you that are new, just joining us, new to Forex trading, the U.S. dollar, we don't trade the U.S. dollar, or at least I don't anyway, but we use this as a hedge for the other currency pairs that we trade. So if I'm looking for price to not continue further down this level here, let's say, 95.70, then 95.80 to 95.75. I don't want to see the price go any lower than that. If it does, then we could come back down under here and sweep these lows, and I definitely don't want to see that or get lower than here. I want price to stay up where it's at and to continue to run higher, and and go from there. So as I was saying earlier, if you're new and join us, the reason why we put so much heavy analysis into the US dollar is because it gives us a directional bias on the other markets that we're looking at. So one being the Euro USD. Again, Monday was a nice down day, Tuesday was a mixed day, and then Wednesday smashed down, ripped through these lows. And I mentioned this as well too. that Monday and Tuesday had not created this another swing low underneath here, and they were holding this, and I was actually looking for a move higher. We didn't get much of a move higher on the day, but there's definitely some pips there you could have grabbed. And on my Sunday review, I said plain and simple, very easily, if price comes up to 115.35 and between 115.65, sell it and ride it down, and that's exactly what you could have done. If you still held it, the target was right here at 144.10, so target would have been achieved on Wednesday. Congratulations, you would have nailed yourself a little over 100 pips, and it would have been a great week of trading. If you didn't, well, I wouldn't worry about it because there could be a little bit of opportunity left in the week. I don't think they're quite done yet. By the looks of things, 1 second, guys. By the looks of things, I think that they're going to continue to push lower, and we may even challenge this. Now, if you look at this overall price swing in here, look how deep it came into the most recent swing low. And then look at the US dollar comparison on the most recent swing high. So let me just borrow this for some perspective here. So you can see how price sort of stopped here on Wednesday, sort of at the bottom of this small, 1, 2, 3 candle consolidation range here, whereas the Euro USD dropped lower than that level. And that's this 1, 2, 3 level, same exact thing as the US dollar, but reverse. And we dropped lower into it. So that to me means there's a lot of weight on this pair. A lot of bears are sitting here taking position on it, and I think they're going to stack it up, and we may see a punch below this this low under here. If we get into that low, then we're going to be looking at re-challenging the consolidation pattern over here, and so on and so forth down the road. So that's kind of what I'm looking at to finish off the week. So I would look at one more nice big push downwards. If we can get an entry kind of off of these lows in here, and you could get 100 or 130 pips or whatever it may be this week on this move, awesome. If price continues to run higher, do not let it go. I'm going to borrow this guy here. I don't want to see price, see this one candle right here, this doji, not quite a doji, but almost candle right there that was created on Tuesday. I don't want to see price go any higher than that. So if we start trading up to the 114.70 level, now we're currently right now at 114, 10 or 114.07 exactly, but I don't want to see, if we do see this retrace, I do not want it going any higher than there. If it goes higher than that, then it's going to be a reversal, and we could see higher prices to finish off the week. Some retracement is expected, and again, I'm sort of looking from current levels right now. I'm sort of looking for price to come up and tag off of this blue line here at, call it 114.30, somewhere in and around there, and away you go. Now that'll give you a little bit of a margin for error. I mean, it definitely, it's a 40 pip range from 114.30 to 114.70. So, use some discretion on there. But ultimately, if you ended up going short at this level, if price does trade up here and you ended up going short here, don't let it get back up into this consolidation ranges. Basically, that's all I'm saying. If they want to trade all the way back up into here, then they could want to try to take out the highs of here, and we don't want that. So that's really all I'm trying to say. Now, again, we will see a price spike happening on the euro going into that New York session. Again, with all the news coming up, remind you that again, it's this guy right here. These guys won't do a whole lot. They'll probably send the Euro USD a bit higher, and these guys here, though, they will spike it, and they'll either, I'm hoping they're going to drop it, and but it could be a little bit of a price spike that ensues. So just be careful. Don't have your stops super duper tight, just because you don't want to get taken out and then them running the price in the intended direction. So that's sort of what I'm looking at on Euro USD. And to be honest with you, for a target, I would be safe. I wouldn't. Where are all these things coming from? I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to say go ahead and take, hold till price comes lower than here, and you know, do a 10 or 20 pip stop or anything like that, like down to the 117.80 level, you could certainly do that. I would be taking all of my profits. If you got an entry up here, I would certainly be taking something off at 30 pips, and then I'd be taking a little bit off at right here, and then maybe try holding on for a little bit to see if the price wants to sweep below there. But I would certainly be taking positions off as price was running in my favor on this trade. So that's the best way to remain profitable, and I'll leave that up to you. These, of course, are only my ideas and do not constitute trade ideas. You trade at your own risk. Everything you see here is all in a demo account. There's no real live funds trading, so you don't have to worry about me making money or losing money. And alternatively, I don't want to hear about you guys making money or losing money either. So please keep that in mind. These are all theories, and I am not a licensed trade advisor, broker, or anything like, or professional in any way, shape, or form. If you take my advice, you use it at your own risk. Moving on to the cable. Now, I don't necessarily think there's going to be a huge trade in the cable. We could see a nice downward momentum on the cable going into Thursday in conjunction, and just in conjunction, in sympathy with the Euro USD. But I think my week on the cable is up. I'm going to elect to move over to the Euro. I think that's going to be the preferred pair, and only because how heavy this has been. So we really took out that previous swing low, and this swing low comes in at September 3rd and September 4th. Same swing low on Euro USD. Wait. Sorry, September. Where are we? No, my apologies. This was that old swing low back in there, and this was a deeper swing low that they had. But what I'm trying to drive at is the cable took out the most recent swing low. The cable took out the most recent swing low, but the Euro has yet to do that, and so it's definitely been a lot heavier on the cable than as opposed to the Euro. So, and especially today, they smashed out those equal lows. That was the target on the week. If you saw my weekly review, I actually admittedly wanted to see price come up a little bit higher, but I basically said anywhere from here to here, and it would be good for an entry. And price came up on Monday, came right into this candle down, up candle right here, traded off, and then Tuesday, again, so what I did on my trades, I'll show you right here. I didn't trade on Monday. I typically don't trade Mondays, but we had a nice down day Monday. And then I got on, I'm doing a live London session, and I thought we were going to see price retrace quite heavily going into the New York session on Tuesday. So I ended up getting off a long position. As price spiked down here, I got in a long position just kind of up on this up candle right here. And my target, interestingly enough, was exactly 130.45, okay? That was where my take profit was, and I walked away. And my trade was nicely in profit. I walked away, and I came in, and I'll show you here. I came in, and price was right here, and it failed to take my profit, my target. And it was only what was it? I think it was about 60 pips I was looking for. I got in just about the high of that candle after it took out those highs, and it would have been about, maybe not quite that much. I feel like I remember it was 60 pips, or a little over 60. Anyway, long story short, it was 130.45 was my target, and price on this candle, look what it came up to, 130.43. So it missed my take profit by literally 2 pips, and then when I came onto the charts, I had just missed the high here, and it was this down candle right here. And then I thought to myself, well, you know what? Maybe I can, it's just coming up, popping up, and it'll retest off of these highs here, and we'll get a bounce and it'll push up. Because I was actually looking for price to come in to more up into this consolidation level, which is about 130.50. So I was thinking I was being conservative by reducing my target by 5 pips, so it would easily take it, and I just missed it. Unfortunately, by a couple of pips. So anyway, it is what it is. I ended up closing my trade down here, and I think I made about 20 pips on the day. So that was my Tuesday. And then Wednesday came in, and as I said, Wednesday had a nice bearish trend to it. This was an obvious reversal pattern in here on Tuesday. Wednesday sat sideways for a bit, and then I left the charts and I got in again right as price was slamming down in here, and I ended up, because I had my target. So here's the other thing. So I had my target at 129 even flat, and price was right here on this candle, and it started reversing, and I didn't want the same thing to happen to me, what happened the day before, so I ended up collapsing my trade, and price started trading away from it, and I was like, oh good, okay, I made the right decision, only for price to come down about what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about an hour and a half later, and slamming right through, and it would have taken my target, and it would have been a, you know, what was I would have had about a 50 pip day, I believe it was, somewhere in around there. So got a little bit under that for the day, so not too bad so far for the week shaping up. So anyway, that was my week on the cable, and like I say, we did have a couple of nice big down days. Monday and Wednesday, great down days. It could again continue lower going into Thursday, Friday. Feel free to trade this if you'd like, but I think because of the news items and just the fact that, again, this recent swing low was taken out on Wednesday, Euro has yet to do that. I'm electing to bank on the Euro going to be the one that you want to trade for Thursday. Again, just coupled with the news and everything else. So, but if you did want to enter the cable, my entry would be fairly similar to what the Euro USD would be. I'd want to see a run back up to basically this blue line, these old lows here at 129.20, and then see a continuation lower. That's really about it. Very, very straightforward and simple. And if you want to pick a target, I'd keep it conservative for sure. I wouldn't be holding on for 150 pips or anything like that. And I don't necessarily think it's going to challenge this low in here. But if you ended up picking up at 129.20, I'd be probably electing to take something, or the majority of the position, off at 128.50, and just, in and out 70 pips if you can get it, and away you go. So that's my thoughts on Euro and cable. US dollar. I'm going to wrap this up here real quick so you guys can get on. I just want to talk briefly about the US CAD, and this is a demo account here, guys, that I took a trade earlier, so you can see what my thoughts are on US CAD. We had price stab. I'll just zoom in here a little bit. We had price stab down in here on the news event. So there was a big Canadian rate announcement news event. I'll show you here. Wednesday, so this is Wednesday, October 24th. Excuse me. 1 second, guys. So we had a big Bank of Canada rate announcement on Wednesday, late in the day in New York. And that's what I was waiting for. I didn't trade before it. I closed all my positions before and everything like that, and I was just watching price. And my entry on it was 130 even, or 1.300 even, basically. Just sort of the old high of this candle. And my target, I've got a fairly lengthy target. I'm going to use this as a bit of a swing trade. So I'll be holding for multi-days, might even be holding over the weekend if we don't see price really start cascading up here fairly soon. But I'm going to be looking to take off 90% of my target at 132.25. So it's about 225 pips from current location, and that's my target. And I had a relatively bigger stop than what I normally do. The stop that I used was about 50 pips, but obviously in relation to the 225 pip target, it's obviously a lot more than a 3-to-1 it's about a 4-to-1 that we're looking for on that trade. So well within the realm of and I really dialed back on my liquidity, or sorry, on my really dialed back on my risk. Can't get it out. So my thoughts on it were, and as price was stabbing down into here, I was just waiting and watching. It went a little bit deeper than what I had liked. It went about I think 35 pips, 40 pips deeper than what I had anticipated on this feed here. But nonetheless, had a nice reaction. And so far, it's trading a little bit softer. So I'm just sort of looking to see if it wants to tag up off the 130 level again. I'm hoping it doesn't, and we're going to start to see some reversal. And I want to see this thing start really pushing higher. So if we do see a push higher on the US dollar up to the 96.50 level going into Thursday, maybe even into Friday, I'm expecting it to drag the US CAD along with it. Rip above these highs here, and ultimately, I don't think we're going to get up here this week, like by tomorrow. I don't think that's going to happen. There's not enough news or anything like that to drive it all the way up there. But I'm just watching and waiting to see if this is just going to start steadily ticking its way higher, and then sometime next week at the high point, it starts to take this out. And I'll be taking 90% of my trade off here, and I might even leave a little bit on to see if it wants to get above these two equal highs right there. So that's sort of my thoughts on the Canadian dollar, US CAD, and just a current active trade that I've got here in a demo that I'm looking at. So again, it's a demo, not risking anything, not making anything. So I mean, it's it's just more of a study on this intraday price action news event here. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It doesn't really matter to me. What I want to talk about last, crude oil. Man, crude oil is pretty heavy. So I had 66.70 tagged out on my chart for a while now. It's just a simple run below these levels here. Price easily did that on Tuesday, and then Wednesday had a nice retracement higher, but then look what it did as price fell right off. So this was Tuesday's trading, and then Wednesday started to try to make some headway, and just 1, 2, 3 candles straight back down. Now we're right back at this area again. So again, I'm not super keen on crude oil. I was very, very bearish all throughout here. When it got onto here, I was a little bit hesitant. I wasn't sure if we were going to see a run up here first and then a continuation lower. But this ultimately was my target. 66.70 has been my target for quite a while now, and it hit it and then some quite nicely. So we're kind of in an interesting area right now. We did have a big retrace here on Wednesday, as you can see right there. And, you know, I don't know. We could be going lower on crude oil. The SODs are really starting to pump out a lot of production. They're really cranking it up right now. And so we could start to see lower prices on crude oil. It could start continuing to cascade lower. There's definitely a few areas of price under this low right here. And then there's relatively equal lows right under this guy right here, and you know, so on and so forth. I hope I'm ultimately bullish crude oil. If you took a trend line and smashed a trend line on it, you know, if you just sort of got all the lows right in here, you know, we just violated this trend line just a bit, but they typically like to do that, smash down into a logical reversal area and then start to run it higher. When everyone thinks it's going to continue short, that's when they reverse it and run it higher. So I honestly don't know. I'm going to elect to sit on the fence on crude oil just for the rest of this week anyway, and we'll see what happens and shapes up next week. But this price structure right in here is pretty much complete in my mind, and anything else lower could be just a run underneath these lows right here to grab those and then a continuation higher. But so far, if you look at this, I mean, they have not come down to grab any stops. So this was the ultimate low, way back here at $40, back in May of 2017. And look at this. I'm just gonna, like, there's lows right there, here. I mean, here you could put it there, but here, there, and all the way up, that they have never once come back down to grab. So there is a ton of liquidity sitting underneath this market right here, and really all they need is just one big push up, a rejection, and a dump to start clearing a lot of these out. And I don't necessarily think we're going to be trading all the way back down to the 40s or anything like that, But high 50s to low 60s, you know, I definitely think that could be a target for what they're looking for on crude oil. So they could definitely sink this down another $6 or $7 easily to scoop this out and scoop this out to complete that range, and then just turn around and run it higher. I mean, ultimately, crude oil, I think we're going to be in the 80s into next year. A few things need to happen, obviously, but I definitely don't think the bull run is over by any stretch of the imagination. So now, with that being said, if price cascades lower and takes out some stops and then runs higher and fails sort of right about the middle of this range right in here, and we can't get any higher, then, you know, I'll just put it right on the thing here. If we can't get any higher than 67.20, all bets are off. Now, I don't mean... Sorry about that, guys. It looked like my stream got cut off there for a second. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat here if you guys can still hear me. It says my video output is really low, so I just want to confirm if you guys can still hear me or not. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up right now, but I'm just, long story short, if we dump down, we pick out these lows, and then price starts to return higher and everyone gets on that bull market and it starts chugging along and it fails to get above 67.20 and just will not go any higher, then watch out. Then we could see a much, much deeper pullback on crude oil, but we'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it. So anyways, I'm getting some interesting video output issues here, so I'm going to wrap this up right now, and Dave will be back Friday morning to trade S&P. Side note, he gave you guys a couple of good trades there today, so hopefully you guys watch them on Friday. Oh, thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. Sound, video are good. Okay. Yeah. Dave will be back on Friday. He's going to be trading S&P, gold, and all that fun stuff for you guys. He had a short session on Wednesday, kind of short and sweet to the point, and I think if you guys were taking his trades, it would have netted you a nice little bit of a profit. So hopefully you guys are watching him on Fridays. I'll set up all the links and everything for you going when he comes live. And that'll be it for me for the week. So you got my ideas on the week. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, you know how to get a hold of me. I've got the chat window up here under the YouTube video, so if you guys just have a question about anything, just throw it in the chat there. If not, we'll catch up to you next week. Dave will be with you guys on Friday, and I'll be back again for another weekly recap and market forecast video on Sunday. I'll have that posted, and then I'll be back for another Tuesday morning London live London Open session. So we'll catch up to you guys then. Hope you guys have a great trading day on Thursday. Good luck out there.